Vegas is my daddy, and I'm man enough to say it. You know, all the house monies have exited the building. There's no more house money, and that was never my money at all. Okay, this is a live look at a broken man here over the last 48. Just all down the drain. 99-yard drive, 7-week-long drive. Been driving the ball for 7 fucking weeks. Been driving the ball for 49 days. And I throw it off the back of a fat fucking O-lineman's helmet and it goes for a pick 6. That's how I feel right now. So this is an authentic look at a broken man. You don't need to call the hotline. Hotline's right here. Okay? But the good news is money has no inherent value. It's a social construct. Live to see another day, I guess. Justin Fields says in my notes, because I brought notes in the freezer here, and it says in my notes, talk about Justin Fields. Yeah. How could I not? For the rest of my life. Fucking guy, I've been on his bandwagon, clinging on that thing, so I can, just in case this ever happens, be like, yeah, I knew it. But that doesn't make me any fucking money. In fact, he owes me an undisclosed amount of money now. If I see Justin Fields, I'm going to remind him of what he did to my family tonight. Speaking of my family, wife walks in, I'm sitting on the couch dejected, of course. You know, 24-hour rule, we'll flush it. But like, she's like, yeah, you probably lost some money, huh? I was like, don't really want to talk about it. She's like, how much? I was like, don't really want to disclose. And she put her hand on my shoulder and she's like, you know, who's the real loser, Chris? You might have lost some money, but I lost a tennis match tonight. And you know what? I thought about it, and I'm coming around on that. I think she's the real loser. Because I'm not the only loser. Vegas is my daddy. Vegas is a lot of your daddies. Vegas is a tribe of many, is a family of many children. And it's like a polygamous group. You're part of the group, chances are. And if you weren't a part of the group and you're sharp and you bet the Bears, all of a sudden you win a bet, you're a fucking lifetime 55% gambler. It's coming for you too now. So you'll join. I'll see you later. I'll see you at family dinner. I'll see you at the family dinner. Just not this week. Maybe it's not this week. It'll be down the line. You know, some of you snide Bears bettors fucking did the thing. You did the thing. Good for you. But you'll have a night like tonight. And just remember, when you have a night like tonight, that money is a social construct. It's all about the people that love you and your health and things like that. So I'm going to give my wife the password to my WinBet account now.
So that was me at the fridge last night after that debacle. Bo, I'm not going to share with the guys in the studio what I had riding on the game, but you saw, I texted you so that there was an institutional memory of just how much. Are you chewing gum?
It's actually caffeine gum, Chris. Can you tell?
Yeah, you could really use some caffeine gum. That's
I got caffeine gum and some Zins here. I'm about to be fucking rolling for this pod. Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
Speaking of that, I wonder if we have any Zyn laying around. I could use some nicotine. I sent you a text message with the 5 to 6 bets that I had on the Pats last night. I was in chase mode. Well, who you heard in that video is not Chris Long. That's Chase Long. Okay, that's Chase Long. Chase Long made those bets. Chase Long did that fridge talk. Chris Long woke up this morning and stared at the fucking ceiling for 40 minutes. I woke up this morning. It was overcast out. I think that's what it's like when you don't want to get out of bed.
Is this an intervention pod, Chris?
No. We're good. I'm not addicted because I can stop. I haven't gambled all day.
I bet you I can get you gambling by the end of the day, Chris.
No, I don't think so. The problem is, you know, it was a bad weekend, Bo, and this is what'll happen to you sometimes. And Meg was great last night, as you heard in the video. Like, get you a wife who walks in and respects your bankroll as your bankroll, right? Because I earned that bankroll. Yeah. It's my right to piss it away. You know, it's my right to set that pile of cash on fire. Ironically, trusting the greatest coach of all time against the least accurate quarterback in the fucking league last night, dude. In the league. So I guess the question is, and this day is going to go down in infamy. What day is it? October 24th was last night. I won't be placing bets on October 24th ever again. I'm also going to take off 11-8 because if you guys remember in 2020, a giant bet I lost when I put a bunch of money on Tampa. Chase Long put a bunch of money on Tampa on Sunday Night Football. They got waxed 38-3 by the Saints. That was brutal. But the same day, I bet the fucking Ben DiNucci. I bet against Ben DiNucci. Wasn't that what happened, Reed? It was Ben DiNucci, and he was a Steeler, or was he a Cowboy?
Cowboy.
Yeah, it's all mixed up in my head. It was just a factory of sadness. 3 hours staring at the TV, screaming at Ben DiNucci. Big money line bet. Chase Long, he likes to pile on the risk when he's down. Like really big, risky, seemingly safe bets. I texted a few of my friends in New England. Are they going to be okay tonight? Yeah, this feels like a Bears quit game. I got 23-11. I heard all types of shit.
Ooh,
but
Ninko. That must have been Ninko, huh?
He might have been one of them. But it's not like I blame Ninko. I blame Chase Long. And you ought to be careful, Bo, because you want to start gambling. This is how it happens.
Yeah.
This is where it ends. I said in the video, you don't need to call the hotline. I am the hotline.
Well, you're Chase Long. I'm going to be Ernie Allen, because I'm going to be earning that, baby. Come on.
You think?
You mean you need me to play some bets for you on 11-8? I got you, Allen.
Yeah, 11-8. I might let you ghost gamble for me.
Yeah, I love that. Let's do it.
Honestly, though, I kind of understand why some degenerates love it. Like, I still loved losing that money
because you feel
night.
Something, Either way,
feel something.
Yeah. We're all dead inside, Chris. Win or lose, you just want the emotional rush.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And the worst part was, I didn't even put this in the video. My mom was over last night. She came back in town and sat with me and watched a football game. We haven't watched a football game in a while. And she was kind of like, man, you really are irresponsible.
It took her that long to figure that out. she didn't figure that out at New Year's Eve at fucking Tavern on Broad back in 2018.
Oh man, when Khalil Herbert went in on a fucking on that little pump screen to basically to kill, because I had the first half. I had first half money line. I had first half -5. It was excruciating. The Bailey Zappi second quarter, I will always fondly remember. So much dopamine. Wherever dopamine goes in your body, I had a lot of it. And I was on tilt. And after that first quarter where every play I was going, oh no. The second quarter was blissful. And it was sandwiched between two of the worst periods of football viewing I've ever experienced in my life. Bailey Zappi. He's a piece of bologna between two fucking dry pieces of bread. And the sandwich tastes like shit. And it came out bad on the other end. Okay? Because now all the house money is gone. And Bo, you saw how much money that was. We're going to move on in a second, but I just had to vent a little bit.
It was a lot. Enough to be bummed about, but
definitely, especially when you realize I lost that Sunday too.
Yeah, well, thankfully Ernie Allen's going to bring that all back for you.
Okay.
And we got a fun little company trip coming up to Vegas, so let's not forget about that too. Lots of earning potential for the boys.
Can I tell people about the company trip coming up? So in November, I got to go to Vegas. I go to Vegas for the Win. Wonderful people, sponsors of this pod. There's a certain amount of activations I have to go do. Take you behind the curtain. Oh, you got to go to Vegas for work. I don't look a gift horse in the mouth all the time. Sometimes I'm like, Vegas is a long way. But it's exciting to get to go to Vegas for work. It times up that my buddy Sam Bradford has a birthday that week, and my lovely wife. Hold
on a second, Chris. You have another buddy that has a birthday that week too.
I know. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there,
you motherfucker.
So Sam had a birthday first. Okay, Sam has a birthday. Sam and I like to go to the Win. We like to gamble. We like to hang out. We like to take the lovely wives, and we do. And we had this all planned out. And I was like, listen, I don't have to do much for work. Then Bo calls me a week later, and he's like, hey, heard you're going to Vegas in November. I think I want to go to Vegas, and it's your boy's birthday. So I'm thinking we do a big birthday thing. So this is kind of like a Curb Your Enthusiasm situation.
I'll invite myself to anything, Chris. I basically invited myself onto your podcast on a permanent basis, so here we are.
But the best part is that it's not just like, yo, I'm coming to Vegas. I know you have like a nice, clean double date set up for Vegas, but I'm going to be the fifth wheel and it's going to be my birthday. So Sam's going to be trying to have like a nice, quiet birthday dinner. Bo's going to be sitting at table over and request fucking some cake and they're going to sing to
ice
him.
cream cake, Dairy Queen ice cream cake. Jot that down. Win.
We're going to be at Delilah's. Bo's like, what time are you going to Delilah's?
No, I'm a Sapphires guy in Vegas. Sapphire.
What is Sapphires?
Oh, I'll show you. Sapphire.
So are you bringing a lovely lady, Bo? Or are you just gonna fifth?
to be determined.
Emrata might be available.
Yeah, you're right.
Emrata will be there. We will see, Chris. To be determined. I'm sure we have a lot of lovely listeners of this podcast. Submit your applications on greenlight.com /
Oh, that's
Vegas
good.
date weekend.
Can you DM if you want to go to Vegas with Bo? It's getting cold outside. It's good to have somebody to hold on to, especially if he's a big hulking man. He's got a lot of hair. He's got facial hair. He's a warm weather boo.
I've also lost like 55 pounds in the last year. Just note that. Jot that down, ladies.
But he's still a warm weather boo thing. It's kind of like being growing up a point guard and then hitting a growth spurt and being 6'10". It's the best of both worlds. It's like he's the Wembanyama.
Plus, I was fat growing up, so I'm funny now, which is important too.
Honestly, think about the perfect storm that created Beau Allen. He could be yours for one weekend in Las Vegas. DM Greenlight.
We're doing a Vegas thing where we're just whoring me out, huh? Really leaning into the Vegas.
Yeah. Why don't we hire a working girl for the weekend?
This is a family podcast. Come on.
No, it's not. Some guy in their car with this on.
We just got done talking about gambling. Now we're talking about escorts and love it. Just a true NFL experience.
Well, honestly, no, it's not. Honestly, think about it. We could get a real classy gal to show up Friday, go to dinner with you, blow out the candles. I mean, she could even sit at the table with Sam, myself, and our lovely wives.
We'll see, Chris.
Who says no, Bo? Who says no to this deal?
Hopefully not Emrata.
Okay, so we're going to Vegas. And we're not going to gamble. Is that? No, it's not 11-8. It's not. Whoa. If we were going 11-8, I'd have to get the trip moved.
I want
the day that we'll live in infamy.
I want your lovely wife Meg to throw some dice on the craps table with us.
You know she will. She's got a little man's complex, so she's going to be out there gambling loud at the tables, yelling at the die. Okay, so listen, like that thing y'all do, Kingston, where you got to talk to the dice and then throw it all hard as fuck out. Yeah, you do all that shit. So here's the thing last night, Bo. I'm going to ask you what you thought up front and what happened to the Pats. Because number one, gray pants probably have to go. And that's a big shame because I thought that the Pats uniforms were always really solid and they changed the unis, right? To these new joints. They look like perpetual Thursday night football. They threw on the grays last night. I thought the grays looked great, but you know how coaches are. He's probably never going to go back to these motherfuckers. So that's shame number one. Shame number two. Belichick warned us about the Bears.
Yeah.
I mean, he told us they were good, and we were like, he's just messing around.
I might want to listen to the greatest coach of all time when he gives you an in-depth scouting report on a team that ends up beating them on Monday Night Football,
I mean, he warned us, and he warned the Pats probably, and they got fucking jumped. That's the best way I could put it. Like early in this game, they got jumped, and I want to give Getsy a lot of credit, the OC in Chicago, because that game plan, well, they might have run some of the same things. They had a lot of really nice wrinkles, like a ghost motion counter with the quarterback, that sort of thing. You moved the pocket with them early. You had that slick little screen in the red zone.
Some good RPOs.
RPOs, you used play action. But the bottom line is they came out attacking. And I bet you Bill told, and we've both been coached by Bill Belichick, right? I think this was a tailor-made situation that Bill walks into the room and says, guys, we are going to suffocate the run game and we will not lose this game. We're going to make Justin Fields beat us. We're going to play zone because we don't want people turning their back to the defense because you see how fast and athletic he is. We're going to rush with integrity. Our rush lanes are going to be good. None of those things fucking happened, dude. It just did not play out the way on the defensive side of the ball, because people are going to look at the Mac Jones thing and the Zappy thing, and they're going to be disappointed, and they're going to say, like, what's your plan, which we'll talk about in a second. But the defense was what you thought you could hang your fucking hat on.
Right.
And they got absolutely jumped.
And there's been a lot of buzz about, the Patriots offense, exactly what you just said, like, defensive coaches with Patricia and Bill calling the plays, but you'd expect the defense for the Patriots to do a lot better. And I think it really boils down to what you said, Chris. Fields played a hell of a game, man. And you mentioned it earlier when you were talking about your gambling woes. One of the most inaccurate passers in the league, but his decision making was good, and he was throwing some good balls, but more importantly, like, he was so dangerous on his feet. And I thought they did a really good job of crafting up, quarterback runs in critical moments, for Fields. Like, the first touchdown of the game on that quarterback keep, it was like a sweep outside zone type play. And then there's another 3rd and 5 where they just, direct snap to him, and he took it and picked it up. But I think he picked up probably, like, there was a 3rd and 14 that he picked up on his feet too. That was really nice. And, that there was another 3rd and 6 where there was kind of a botched snap that he picked up. So I think they really didn't do a bad job against the run game. They kind of got bled a little bit, just throughout the course of the game with, some 6-yard runs and stuff like that. But the real dangerous runner was Fields. And he's a weapon, dude. He's an absolute weapon. You talked about it. The most disappointing thing watching that game slip away was 3rd down. Yeah.
And you talked about it. There was a play early in that game, like, they didn't get the ball run up their ass traditionally, right?
No.
But what did happen is early in the game, when you got jumped and the offense was moving the ball, and you knew they came to play, and your offense was pinned against the goal line, they received the kick. I don't know who won the toss. I mean, it was probably Chicago, and they elected to defer or whatever, but this is what I'm afraid of. Mac Jones trots out there. He's on a high ankle, which is a real motherfucker to play with. Yeah. Okay, so he's been out a little bit now. That thing's still biting. Like, usually those are 4 to 6 weeks.
He did look kind of mobile though, but I'm with you. Like, those are motherfuckers to play on. And he was not afraid to scramble. I think, he probably got 4 series total. And I think on 3rd down a couple times, like, he was trying to pick up the first down with his feet, and it didn't look horrible. Like, you've seen guys that
pretty much the only thing he did all night was kick a guy in the dick.
I know. High
five Zappy.
That was Brady-esque. You see that slide? Brady's been doing that for years, man. No one ever picks up on that, but that's such a rap move. I mean, I kind of love it, but I also kind of hate it. It's one of those things where it's it's just such a motherfucker move, any other quarterbacks.
But you mentioned it. I mean, there's a lot of 3rd downs, and then, like, for me, it was, I don't know if you remember this play, but they were in the red zone. I think they were down 3-0, and Montgomery gets the ball, and he gets tackled. I mean, Judon's got him dead to rights at like the 5-yard line or the 7-yard line. He just keeps churning. I thought he was down. I lost him in the pile. He goes down to the 2-yard line. There's guys standing around that pile. Like, there's guys who don't know whether to push the pile or to jump on the pile. And there's DBs just kind of like relaxing. And in that moment, as the Bears appear to, pardon the cliche, want it more, you realize, oh, shit is real.
Yeah.
Like, tonight. And if you're a member of the Pats defense, you're like, we got to be perfect from here on out. And they weren't. And on 3rd down, you talked about it, whether they were rushing 3 and the lanes were off, whether it was in the second half, they come out at that 3rd and 5 you mentioned. They got pullers out there on 3rd and 5.
I love that call.
So, I mean, like,
that's smart football, man. That's smart by the Bears. There's a little Jalen Hurts-esque too, quarterbacks are so dangerous, mobile quarterbacks, and Fields is a big player too. Like, he's like 240 or something like that, but he's kind of long too, and he can move well. I thought that was a great play call.
Well, honestly, I had, I'm looking at that play and I'm thinking, he really puts you in a bind on 3rd and 5. The weather's bad. You're like probably thinking, hey, we got to watch for quarterback run and some of this stuff. They've done some of these things this year. And you got to decide whether you want to be out there and sub or not, right? You got to decide whether you want big people in the field or not. There was a 3rd and 14, I think, where they had big people in the field. I don't know, it was 3rd and 14, but it was 3rd and 6 out of the half. And they got big guys on the field, and he scrambles because the guys that are trying to run flat and beat him to the line of scrimmage or the first down marker are big guys. So it really puts coaches in a bind, especially in a weather game when you're like, yeah, they'll fuck around and run the ball on 3rd and medium. And I should have known, dude. All these 3rd downs were backbreaking. Even the ones like he would fumble the snap.
Exactly.
He fumbled one time and actually came up with his own fumble. Like they got lucky a couple times. There was another time he fumbled. Judon's trying to rush the edge. He bails out of the back of the pocket. The big guys are running. They're not fast enough. It's just a disaster. But I said this week 1, and I should have known. I said this out loud on this show. The Bears are a rain team. I said that. I said, like, they just, when it's nasty out, because it was San Francisco, and they elevated and beat the dog shit out of San Francisco in a lot of spots in that game. They just look like a rain team.
So
I never
are the
should have bet
Patriots,
against
though.
them.
There is no football team in the world that practices outside in inclement weather more than the New England Patriots. Believe me, you should know that. And I swear it is always overcast. There's something about Foxborough where like last night, the conditions of last night, that's like 80% of the time in Foxborough. There's some sort of weird weather phenomenon where that's just what it is, Well,
just think about it, man. Just think about this. Like all these things that whether you're a gambler, or you're trying to handicap that game, or you're just watching the game, you're like, okay, Belichick, inaccurate quarterback. You've got 2 rookie tackles. You have 2 rookie corners. On the field for the Bears. It's raining, right? All this stuff. You get your quarterback back, and this is what an anomaly last night was. I don't think I've ever seen a game where a quarterback took such a big step forward.
Agreed.
On such a big stage. So I'm really happy for Justin Fields as the smoke clears. Like my 24-hour rule is almost over. And, like I said, I'm going to pat myself on the back on this because I'll tell you when I'm wrong about something. If Justin Fields turns out to be this guy, I don't know that there are too many people left on the bandwagon. Yeah. And I have never gotten off the bandwagon on Justin Fields because it's too tantalizing, man. His physical abilities, what he did last night. I don't want to say Josh Allen's name in the same sentence, but do you remember when people were down on Josh Allen, right? It wasn't, this guy's not the natural thrower that Josh Allen was, but, if you can lean into his strengths and develop him and build an offense around him, fuck, he's scary, dude.
One thing I want to mention too about the Patriots defense, I think Kyle Duggar got injured, and
that was big.
He's a really talented athlete, and he's been playing really well at that safety position. And then Adrian Phillips went down late in that game too, which is, those are 2 crucial positions in a game like that. So I think that might have been a factor as well.
Well, talk to me about this, Bo. Do you think Mac Jones should have got booed? And do you feel like that was the right move? If you're on the sideline there, how do you feel about them flip-flopping quarterbacks and what you heard from Bill in post-game?
Right. I mean, you can't really expect Bill to comment too much on that, just, knowing who he is and how he treats the media. But here's the thing, Chris, you know this about me. I'm a hater. I love to hate. And so I'd be the first one to shit on, fucking boo this quarterback. And I love hating quarterbacks too, just like everybody else. But as a nose guard, a defensive line, you don't get any love. So anytime, you get these prima donna quarterbacks, and it's kind of, I love, them getting hate on. And I say all that to basically say, I don't think it was the right move to boo him at all. This is your first round, young quarterback who's, kind of got the keys to the franchise, who led the team to a playoff, berth to the playoffs last season. It's coming off a high ankle. High ankle injuries are tough. Those things linger, man. And I'm sure he's been grinding, trying to get back, doing everything he can, doing everything right. And he's getting booed after a couple series in Foxborough, which is really one of the most electric places to play, in my opinion. Like I unfortunately never played there as a New England Patriot, but I've played there multiple times, and the atmosphere is it's a great football atmosphere. So kind of disheartening to see, in my opinion, because, I was a little kind of surprised by it, but then when you think about it more, you're like, why is that surprising?
Well, it's not surprising. They haven't dealt with adverity like this as a fan base.
But it's just like, why boo a guy? Why are you trying to, take the wind out of his sails before you can even really get going on a primetime game after coming back from injury?
If he's not wrecked by this, at least in the short term, he's a pretty mentally tough kid because it's hard, man. It's hard to. I've never heard boos. Like I've heard boos when I jumped off sides or whatever, but not at we don't know what that's like. And I'm sure leading up to the game, he's knowing in his head, there's a storm going on, dude.
Right.
He's thinking about, I got to be healthy. I got to be my best. It's raining. It's just the most inopportune time to make my return. The only thing I can hang my hat on is that the Bears defense hasn't been that great.
Yeah.
You go out there, you get jumped, your defense gets jumped, and all of a sudden your game plan kind of goes out the window.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're hearing boos. Yeah, like everything you just outlined. That kid, the first year you don't have Tom Brady, the guy falls into your lap and the offense is pretty good. And the guy's fighting back from an ankle injury. And this would, Philly would never, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Philly would never. I know Philly would, but not like that early, I don't think. I just think it was the Bailey Zappi effect, man. Like people get really out over their skis a little bit with young quarterbacks and with people that pop in and play pretty well in spot
just
starts.
It's such a pleasant surprise that it's hard to not get juiced up about it. We talked about this a little bit, but there's some sort of weird energy phenomenon, Chris, where, they boo, they boo Mac Jones, they put in Zappi, and then, he has all those completions. And then there's a busted coverage and a long ball. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of crazy.
And it's not even a good throw.
No, it's not a good throw, but it's crazy how that works out. I don't think I'm doing a good job of verbalizing this, but like where you can almost feel this kind of like palpable energy something like that happens. And it's just like, that's football, man. I don't really know how to describe it exactly.
I'll tell you what it is. It's the fucking force of the universe,
exactly.
Man.
It's like a collective will of everybody. And the team looks so like gassed up when Zappi, comes in to just make a change like that can kind of energize your team, which can be a tangible, palpable thing, but it's so crazy to just see the force of a small change like that. And then it just kind of works out for that brief, those brief little 2 or 3 series or whatever when Zappi was balling. And there's something, I don't know, there's something there, man. And we've all felt that. Like we felt that in Philly, in 2017, 2018. It's crazy how that works out.
Well, I'll say this, and I don't want to oversimplify it, but they can run more of the stuff that Joe Judge and Matt Patricia want to run with Zappi under center. And I mean that under center, like more often than Mac Jones. And Mac Jones, like you're not going to be able to get as much as your play action going. They ran a lot more play action. They highlighted it last night. I think it was 15% the first 2 weeks. And then weeks 3 through 5, I think it was 35%. And the 2 balls that he hit, that Zappi hit when he got in the game, were play action shots. Okay, and as you outlined, the first one to Jacoby Myers, like he has to turn around to catch that ball. I mean, that should be a walking in touchdown. Okay, so I'm not down in Zappi. I personally don't think the answer's in the building for them. Like I don't know that the answer is in the building for these guys, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. The sample size is too small.
The New England Patriots,
the shot to Devontae Parker was also play action. So. Yeah. You got to involve play action with the way this team's built, and I just don't know if they can get to as much of it with Mac Jones. So I don't know what they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they're thinking, but go ahead.
No, I was just gonna. I mean, if we're transitioning, there's a couple other funny things. I thought it was really funny. At one point, Joe Buck, I think it was Buck, said something along the lines of, "Man, I'd love to put a heart rate monitor on Bill Belichick right now, see what his heart rate is." And then the camera cuts to Bill on the sideline, and his heart rate is probably 45.
45.
Like he is just 45. Deadpan, just another day at the office, like not a single expression on his face. So I was wondering if you caught that, but that made me chuckle. Pretty hard. What made me
chuckle was Peyton Manning, and somebody sent me this when they're 33 to whatever it was. I kind of just fucking shut down, so I wasn't paying attention. But they were about to go in and score if they didn't take a knee, and Peyton's up there on the Manning cast, like, go in and score. You get a chance to put up 40 in Foxborough, you do it.
And it was
like he was living through Justin Fields, bro.
Yeah. It was crazy how Gillette kind of deflated too, like, the team but the energy in the stadium just feel like it went out later. And I thought I saw someone from the Bears, I think maybe one of their linebackers commented about that, or I saw that in the media too, but I thought that was very interesting because you wouldn't expect, the Bears to kind of silence a stadium like that in Monday Night Football and, fall in Foxborough. And then one other thing I want to talk about too is just, I don't know if I've ever on that, there's a pick late. I think it was the fourth quarter. And Mike Pennell, who's a nose guard, got a unsportsmanlike conduct for, like a blindside block on Patriots center, David Andrews. and he got ejected after that. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Oh wow, I didn't see that play.
He got ejected. I don't know if I've ever seen it, and I'm sure he's got a hefty fine coming. And his own head coach said, you know, it was kind of dirty football.
Was it? Let me see.
I don't think it was necessarily like, it was definitely like he cleaned his clock pretty good, and you know, David Andrews was down after that, and he was being evaluated for a head injury. So I hope he's all right. But it was kind of one of those blocks where his back against his own, you know, goal line. So it's a blindside block, but he got it. You remember back in the day when where you get a screen pass as a D lineman and the interior, you know, like guard would peel back on you and just you wouldn't see it coming and kind of smash you. It was one of those.
Is that dirty? I mean, don't think DA is my guy, but I don't think it, you know,
I don't think it was like purposefully like
bro,
malicious.
There was a time in football when it was like, as soon as there's an interception, you run and assault the quarterback.
Exactly. Yes. And that
like
would never, that would be
try
flagged.
to fuck the quarterback up. And you can't even breathe on him anymore. Right. I remember late in my career, like after picks, I would just go up and kind of like, I was afraid to hit the quarterback.
The line judge would come find you, be like, whoa, you know?
Yeah.
But that was a coaching point early in the NFL. Like, go get the quarterback. I just thought
this isn't a quarterback. This is David Andrews. He's a big man. So.
Yeah, and he got him pretty good, but I don't think I'd ever seen that. And I'm sure, like, you know,
an ejection.
It's not dirty at all to me. Like the ball handler's right in front of him. Like he has to block Andrews.
Right. And it's kind of the closest guy to you. If you're a nose guard, like that center is kind of right there.
I know what the result of this play is, but what do you think hurts a lot more? Is it, and maybe Andrew's head hitting the ground caused it, but was it the chip on Micah Parsons from Leonard Fournette, not to bring that up again, or this? What's more dangerous?
I mean, I kind of actually was, I was thinking about that too, and I saw it and, you know, talking about it. It's kind of, I feel like it's kind of all in the same vein, but those are the ones, I mean, the ones that get you the worst are the ones that you don't really see, you know, and I think that's kind of what both of them are.
No question. The hardest I ever got hit was by Rashad Jennings in the high school state championship. Rashad Jennings played 10 years in the league as a huge running back. He was the same weight as me. He laid me the fuck out. I didn't see him coming. Right. They hurt. But, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of surprised that guy got ejected. I was commiserating with my refrigerator at that point. So the fridge is like, come on, get it over with.
Come on, I got some cookies in here for you. Make it feel better.
So anyways, I don't know if they're benching Mac Jones for real. I don't know what's going on, but like that's enough on a damn football game like that. I mean, that's just, that was gross. But if you're a Bears fan, not so gross. And they're one of these teams that you look up, like the Panthers. The Panthers aren't in the class of the Seahawks. They're not even in the class of the Bears, I don't think. But these are three teams that I'm just off the top of my head are like a game out, dude. There are 3 games between 2 teams with a winning record, I think, this weekend. And I'm not positive about that, but I think I looked earlier, and I don't think there's a bunch of 2 winning teams playing each other in the NFL right now. It's just too muddied up. So it's pretty interesting. It's going to be buckle up. I don't even know how to bet these fucking games. We got Ravens, Bucks Thursday night. The Bucks are in trouble. Bo, real quick before we get to Beau Moi.
We did this award earlier in the year, and I kind of want to bring it back, but Sphincter Gauge of the Week.
Oh,
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. I mean, we know I'm still back down here in Tampa Bay and talk to a lot of my friends that are playing for the Bucks. And, you know, sometimes you give your buddies shit after a tough loss. I didn't say anything to the guys because I know that that's losing to Carolina Panthers, you know, 21-3 on the road with a roster as talented as the Bucks, and you know the greatest football player of all time is truly a head scratcher. So I know that there are some tight buttholes walking around One Buck facility right now. So they got the Ravens coming down to Tampa on Thursday night, and that is going to be a real. I mean, I don't want to say must win, but I mean, come on.
Oh yeah. And let me ask you this: if you're Todd Bowles, how are you feeling right now? Because it's like, fuck, dude. It sucks because Todd Bowles, you know, I thought was better than people gave him credit for as a head coach. Obviously, this is going to count against his record in a big way. But I think if you look back at this thing in 10 years and you didn't watch these games or you didn't take a close look at the roster, the way it was constructed, you'd probably be pretty sympathetic to Todd Bowles. I mean, Tom Brady's still really good. Yeah. But this is a fucked up opportunity a little bit. I mean, like, we all nodded our heads when Bruce Arians was like, yeah, I'm going to make sure Todd's got a good opportunity here, this, that, and the third. Obviously, the injuries he can't control.
Right.
But the Brady distractions, all this stuff, and Bruce Arians being in the building, like what's going on with that? It's just it's a weird situation there.
Yeah.
It's been a weird offseason and a weird season. So I feel for Todd a little bit.
I do too. I love Todd Bowles. I mean, I played for him, but I loved his defense. I love him as a coach, and I've never experienced him as a head coach, but to have the situation he did in New York with the Jets, and then to come down to Tampa, and you're like, okay, like he's got a good roster and obviously an incredibly talented vet quarterback. And then to have them, they just look so flat. It's really, really, it's crazy. But I mean, yeah, like you said, injuries like Chris Godwin, kind of got to get him going coming off that tough knee injury he had last season. Their offensive line is very banged up, and I think that they've been blessed. I think last year they had an incredible offensive line. They have Tristan Wirfs, who I think is really, really good. Donovan Smith is good. Yeah. Shaq Mason's really good right guard, but their left guard and their center are kind of weak for them. And that's one of the reasons why they haven't really been able to get the run game going. I think Tom's feeling a lot of pressure, checking the ball down a little bit more, but other random shit like that. We all saw that Mike Evans drop early in the game. And I don't really say these kind of things very much because it's just, people say shit like this all the time. They're like, yeah, whatever, like kind of shut the fuck up. But if Mike catches that ball and they score, I think they win that game. They just needed one big play to kind of energize them. And it's crazy how flat they look.
About that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Bucs defense, notoriously, like I know that defense. I know their defensive line coach, Casey Rogers, is one of my favorite coaches I've ever had. And he's a great, great coach. He's co-defensive coordinator for the Bucs right now. But like the Carolina Panthers are running the ball all over him without Christian McCaffrey, and no one's expecting that. There's a 60-yard run that hits Invita, that kind of winds back and hits Invita's gap and goes for 60. And then, they're running a dive solid or like a duo double, where they're getting like 13 personnel and they double everyone on the line. And it's just those run plays are just designed to make the corner. It's to get a one-on-one with the running back in the corner. They got a rookie cornerback in because Carlton Davis is hurt, and that's a run that goes like 27 yards. And it's just stuff like that where you're like, it's not what the Bucs have been doing for the last couple of years. And, it's very, very interesting, and it'll be very, I'm kind of excited to watch this Thursday night game. I think the Bucs have their backs against the wall in a short week with a good Ravens team.
I hope they lose, Bo. I hope they lose. We got that Bucs under win total, 11.5, and I feel good about it. The 538 has the Bucs finishing 9-8. Okay. Is that a typo on the point differential up there with did 538 do a typo with the Bills?
No, it's crazy high. They're supposed to be plus 200. That's where they're tracking right now.
That would be incredible. So, looking at this, some of the teams, 538 does these projections, but
this is like
right now it looks like the Bills
gambling thing that you're talking about right now.
No, this is just, how many
math
games these wins.
This is Chase Long over
here. No, it's not Chase Long. So it's interesting. As bad as the Bengals have been, 538 has them projected to finish the sixth best team in the league. And part of that is because it's going to take 10 wins to be the sixth best team in the league, according to 538. So pretty interesting, like the drop off from some of the best teams in the league. I mean, in a 16-game season, as we're most used to, in the old format, you figure a 10-win team is maybe a 9.5, 9-win team. Looking at it from a mathematical standpoint, that there are, in this situation, a few elites, and then there's some teams that are scrapping. Like, these are projections. There could be fucking 6 teams in total with 10 total wins, with double-digit wins this year, and that's with an extra game in the regular season. So it's kind of wild just looking at where we are.
The NFC South is so bad that the Bucs are still projected to make the playoffs.
It's crazy.
I don't know, those Falcons, we talked about that. But then the other thing too is, like, we saw this after the game, maybe the Bucs can get some help from the refs down the stretch with Mike Evans dishing out his autograph to the refs. Did you see that, Chris? You have any thoughts on that?
It wasn't an autograph, according to the NFL, who at first today wasn't going to give a statement. They were like, there will be no further statements. It was not an autograph. That's it. They were just going with the, like, I can't talk about it thing. And And then later in the day, they realized that they're going to have to talk about it because they don't fucking read the internet. If they would read the internet, they'd realize a lot of people are talking about this story, but I've never seen it. Some 22-year-old
intern was like, whoa, Roger, we got to comment. It's tell him he's getting his number for a golf pro. Like, I guess Mike's trying to work on his golf game already.
So here's what's weird about that whole thing is Mike Evans like scribbled 2 digits and then like walked off. I got to see the video stops and it doesn't look like he's doing an autograph, for sure not. But it also doesn't look like he's writing. I don't know what's going on here, man.
We'll get the.
I don't know. Mike Evans played golf. Can we get on his Instagram and see if he's ever played golf? Because people post when they play golf. They all take a picture in front of the hole.
Or Lamar Jackson takes a picture at the front of the hole with the he had like a 9-iron out and he like teed his golf ball up on the green. You know what I'm talking about?
That's good.
It's really
and look, like people are walking by like, what the fuck is Mike Evans doing?
Yeah.
This looks weird, and it is weird. And I believe Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans is a stand-up guy.
Well, Mike doesn't give a shit. If there's something funny happening, I feel like he would have come out with it, you know? Like you see Mike him fight Evans, guys on the sidelines. Like he don't care.
So it continues. He does continue to write something. I hadn't seen the whole video, but he does walk around the corner and continue to write probably his 9-digit phone number or 10-digit phone number. Jesus Christ. 17, 18 games, 10 digits. How many weeks? 52 weeks in a year. Okay. I'm
Mike does have a celebrity golf tournament every year.
Oh,
and there are pictures on his website of him at the golf tournament. No swinging pictures, but
case closed.
He's also an elite Call of Duty player, but when he drops the ball, nobody gives him shit like they do to Kyler.
Yeah, because he doesn't drop the ball with regularity. He's a borderline Hall of Famer. And
I don't know about borderline, Chris. I think he's a Hall of Famer, man.
Well, I'm careful with the Hall of Fame police. So until people retire, I just call them borderline Hall of Famers unless they're like first ballot guys.
I'm retired, Chris. What's my status?
You're not going.
Me and you both, brother.
Yeah, no, I know. That's not even in question, dude.
So my last mention will be Beefcake of the Week, and this is kind of an anti-swag kind of guy. You know, the kind of guy that's just kind of wearing issue gear at all times. You know, no swag. It's Ben Jones. There's a viral video of Coach Rabes giving Ben Jones an emotional hug after a game, and he got some love for that on social media, but I've played against Ben Jones a bunch and he's a really good player. Like, you just kind of being honest with you, I love players like Ben Jones because they leave it all out there, and he's not necessarily like the most athletically gifted or talented guy, but he's been in the league for a long time. I remember playing against him in Houston, and kind of the guy that I've always enjoyed catching up with after games and stuff like that. But Beefcake of the Week is a really good player, and you know, he kind of leads that physical Titans offensive line. So to see him get some love from Vrabes and everybody else on social media, I thought he deserved a little bit of a shout out. No
question. Vrabes really, to me, like Ben Jones is the guy playing hurt and all that. And I don't know what the injury was. Does anybody know? But you know, Vrabel is a stud, and like, this is what makes him a stud. He's a former player. You know, he's able to connect with guys. He gets it. There's a second camera angle where you can hear them having the conversation, and Vrabel's emotional, man. You know, he really lives it with these guys. So I think this is case in point of why Vrabel is always in the mix as a head coach with this group, and why this group's always in the mix. I'm getting choked up talking about it. No, I'm joking. I have a burp.
We're emotional. Ooh, emotional podcast. No, but like what you said, I mean, I think you see as a player, you see something like that, and it's kind of why you do it, man. You know, just to get the respect and admiration of your peers and your coaches. You know, that's kind of something for an unsung hero like a center. You know, it's kind of a special thing. So shout out to Ben Jones, Beefcake of the Week.
I was jealous of Ben Jones. You know what I felt? I felt jealousy.
Looked like a good hug.
You know, like to have a head coach that cares about you like that. I have had head coaches that care about you, but that's a real connection.
I agree. Yeah. Looked like a special moment for them.
You very rarely get a fucking thank you directly for playing hurt.
Especially
I don't know that I ever got
after a game, you know, like that in the tunnel.
Yeah, no, you never get a thank you like that. That was really cool. Hey, Bo, take care.
Thank you so much.
Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.